Hello and welcome. You're watching Stadia Rokks. If, like us, you love gaming, but life gets in the way, then Stadia Rokks is for you.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Stadia Rokks Live. It's Sunday morning, it's early or late, depending on where you are in the world. I am Rokk, and of course on my right is...
It's Duncan. How's it going now, Rokk? Good morning to you.
Thank you. Very good morning to you, my friend. And I hope you've had a great week, managed to get some gaming in, hopefully.
Oh, I did. I definitely got some gaming in. I've had a bit of fun this week on Stadia. Played some other systems as well. But yeah, I've got a good bit in this week. What about you? What have you been playing?
I've played so many games this week. As you know, I bought myself a PC a few weeks ago, so I've been playing kind of, well, you name it, Blair Witch, all sorts of games. I mean, probably too many. I think I've been playing about 10 different games. But yeah, as far as Stadia is concerned, we were very lucky. We got early access to Wavebreak, which released last week, and we'll cover that off in the Rokk review later. And also the last few days, Crater, which is going live on the 1st of July. Now, we can't say anything about that because, of course, we're not allowed to until it goes live. So we'll hopefully talk about that next week. People, just in case you're new to the show, every Sunday, we bring Stadia news, reviews, views for busy people and casual gamers like us. And, of course, those that are new to Google Stadia. It's the perfect cloud gaming platform. If you enjoy the show, please leave us a like or a subscribe. We also cover news updates throughout the week, so make sure you click the bell to get notified by YouTube when we have something important to tell you. Okay, Duncan, let's go straight away to our next most important aspect, the thing the stuff that's been going on this past week.
The latest news from Stadia.
Okay, I love all the sound effects and all the intros.
It sort of catches you out, doesn't it?
It does. It's all good fun. The first thing I'm going to talk about here is basically anytime there's a wee update, people go out there and look at APKs. Don't be worried about APKs. It's basically what's going on in the background, and it's what the app is. People go into the app to see if they can find anything. So this week there has been another update to the Stadia app, and there's a couple of interesting wee things which have came out with it. Again, with this doesn't mean these are coming soon or they will come at all, but it's just like hints of what might come in the future. The first thing that was hinted at is playing Stadia on mobile phones without having a Wi-Fi connection. So that means if you've got a 4G connection or a 5G connection, this may be coming shortly. I think this is going to be a big thing, especially with 5G starting to take off in different places. I know for myself, if I had a 5G phone, I would be able to get 5G where I live at this moment in time. So yeah, this is quite big. Again, there's lots of caveats in this. This does not means it's coming soon. And even the wording of this document I'm reading this from 9to5 Google. It gives warnings that if you're using mobile, it's not as stable as if you've got it on Wi-Fi and whatnot. So that is one thing which may be coming.
But I guess the good news for that one is that at least it's good to have the option, right? So currently you can only play on Wi-Fi, but obviously being able to play on 4G, which I'd agree is at least that's the slowest kind of a connection that you'd want to have, rather than 3G, which is you just wouldn't be able to play at all. So at least having the option's great. Of course, warnings that if it's a slow 4G, and you're lucky to have 5G, where I live, literally 4G is like 1 bar. So, it won't be an option for me, but it means, of course, and the most important thing, and I think people forget this, because we're so used to decent broadbands, reasonable broadbands in most of what we call the Western world. But in countries like Africa and Asia, China, India, and so on, actually most of their connections take place over mobile, don't they? So, from that perspective, for them, being able to access on a phone at 4G or better is manna from heaven.
Exactly, it's going to be a big thing. And with xCloud already supporting mobile connections, this is just a step. Stadia taking the step across to that as well. So hopefully this is an indication that it may be coming soon. The next thing is it's something which a lot of people have been asking for, and it's sort of semi-expected now in a lot of things, and it's family sharing. Again, this does not mean it's coming soon. It doesn't mean it's imminent or anything. So it's just in there, and it's just indicating that it may be on its way. So it looks like family share may be coming shortly. So again, there's hints of what it might be, but I don't think there's any point speculating, because there's too much you could speculate, and we don't want to go down that route because we don't want to say and get people's hopes up just in case. But with this, it does look like family sharing is coming, but we're not sure of the exact way it's going, because some of this wording in this may change going forward, and this is not confirmed.
No, and I know from my point of view, again, with my kids, that's something I've really been looking forward to. But I was hoping that what we would get would be an ability for the family to play the games that I've purchased. Now, I know that is potentially what we're looking at, but one of the things that we glean from the APK, which folks, again, if you're not too sure what that means, it literally just means that some boffin takes the raw code of the app, tears it down, and looks for lines of text, meaningful text, which are usually messages that pop up on the screen if you're using the app. So it might be a warning or it might be an explanation, and they give us clues about features that are coming. So one of the things that came from a previous breakdown was that you wouldn't be able to play a game at the same time with your family, which for me was a shame, because one of the main reasons that my kids have an account is so that we can all play together in a game. I understand that there are licensing rules there, but it just feels to me a little bit of a shame that we know, for example, that we'll touch on this next, actually, that there are features with YouTube that will allow people to play in a game with me even if they don't own the game. So it seems a shame if they don't do something similar with family share. We won't be able to play Monopoly together, for example, which is clearly designed for families to play together. So yeah, I'm hoping that will change. And just a quick shout out to Jem, actually, who's in the chat this morning. Good morning, Jem. Jem has been an absolute star at breaking these text messages down, more so from the website. He has great experience in game development and level design, and he's been using his special skills to have a look at what the messages are. So guys, go and subscribe to Jem Stadia, and there's a load of videos that Jem's created on there that will give you sort of insights as to what's coming shortly.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through these a bit quicker now. The next one is Stadia Pro game notification. So basically, what you would think that would mean is when come the 1st of July here, if this was enabled, again, doesn't mean this is enabled. It will ding on your phones saying you've got new games to play because of your Stadia Pro subscription. Mm-hmm. And I think that is actually the last one there. I got ahead of myself there. But there is a lot of interesting stuff in this paradigm, which, again, this doesn't mean it's coming or it's coming soon. It's an indication that it may be coming shortly.
Yes, of course. That's the old caveat.
Exactly, the old caveat. You have to just be...
terms and conditions apply. Other shops may stock Stadia.
Exactly. We don't want to go into too much detail or speculate, because we don't want to get people's hopes up or lower them. We're just saying how it is and just trying to build the stuff there. The next piece of news was this week, two big games coming to Stadia have had some more reveals in Cyberpunk and the Avengers. Cyberpunk is being hotly tipped to be not only possibly Game of the Year, it's also being tipped to be Game of the Generation. What that means is every Xbox to Xbox 360 is a change in generation. So we're talking, this is going to be like a game of nearly the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And that game is coming to Stadia at some stage. Also, the Avengers, another big game coming to Stadia. Everybody's heard of most people have heard of the Avengers. So, and this is coming out.
If they're younger than me, anyway.
Yeah, if they're younger than you and me as well. But yeah, it's coming to Stadia as well. And that's actually coming day and date, which means it's actually coming the same time as everyone else. Mm-hmm. Did you check any of these out, Rock?
Avengers, yeah, I watched both the reveals. They both look amazing games. Of course, the interesting and ironic thing about Cyberpunk, and you're right, that potentially it will be the kind of crowning glory game of the current generation of consoles and PC. The irony, of course, is that it's been in development since the last generation, so they've been literally building this to the end, which in itself is quite ironic. But yeah, they look great. I mean, Cyberpunk is definitely an after dark. It's an adult only. There's no question of that. And if anything, it probably goes beyond what most games have done, which was a little bit like that. I think Cyberpunk's going to tip the balance. Avenger is going to be totally for everybody. And, you know, I could see that being great fun for my little nephew as well as my dad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to both games, both ends of the spectrum there. You've got the family-friendly sort of one and complete adult one. So, yeah, I am looking forward to both. The next thing is, we've just touched on that earlier, but we're going to go into more detail about it, is Wavebreak is coming, has been released on Stadia this week. So we're going to touch on that a bit later. So that came out.
That's good. And
the last part for this part of the news is SpongeBob SquarePants and the Battle for Bikini Bottom. And a game
what can you say?
One hand clapping are possibly both making their way to Stadia. The SpongeBob SquarePants released a trailer and there was a Stadia logo on it, so it sort of indicates that it is coming. So I think we may hear something more about that in a couple of weeks at the Stadia Connect.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we also have what's that called again? One hand clapping.
One hand clapping.
Yeah. This game is actually, if you go into and look at this game looks really interesting. It's a platforming game, but you control it by your voice. So there's a demo out in the PC at the moment. So basically you move or whatever by using your voice and singing to it. So there is possibilities. And
what a great idea. And of course, excellent for people with accessibility issues as well, which they're very poorly catered for in the gaming fraternity. That's that. Now this I'm really interested in. And this has also got Stadia on it, or has it been cleared for Stadia?
It has got a rating for Stadia. This is a games rating. Okay. So basically what's meant to happen is before games are meant to come to release, they're meant to get rated to say if it's E for everyone or teen or 12 or 18, depending on what region you're in. So sometimes games get leaked that way, which you don't know that they're coming, and that's how this one's been leaked.
Sure.
Just talking about the talking, it's something we can talk about in a future episode, but there is a microphone built into the Stadia controller, so I wonder if it would use that.
Yeah, and potentially even Google Assistant, of course, because we haven't covered that in today's news, but we know that for some people there's been a rollout this week of expanded capabilities with Google Assistant within your controller. So if people can see this, I'll hold it up there. There's actually a Google Assistant button built into the controller. There you go. And that allows you to literally talk to the assistant, and at the moment, or at least up until recently, all you could do outside of playing a game was to say play PUBG or whatever, and it would do that. But now within the game, they've added features. They're fairly limited still. I think it's things like what's the time and close the game and so on. But there's talk of some quite quite amazing features coming up, and that could be one of them with that particular game.
Yep, there's another thing. One thing you can do with the Google Assistant when you're playing in game. This is just in the Chromecast Ultra at the moment, so it's not. It hasn't rolled out to mobile or the browser. The last I have checked, one of the useful things is just changing game. You just hit the Google Assistant button and go at play PUBG when you're in Destiny 2 or something. So you can do that. That's a lot quicker. One of the things they did highlight what could happen with the Assistant going forward. If you're playing Tomb Raider and you're stuck in this tomb, you could use the Google Assistant button and they will bring you to on how to solve that tomb. So that is something what they're looking forward to in the future, which I think is going to be a big thing going forward.
Amazing. And of course, it'll also be one of the differentiators between Google Stadia and other platforms, because nobody else, the only other company that has a really big assistant other than Apple, and they're not in this space, is of course Amazon with Alexa. So sorry if I fired it up, folks. That does give YouTube and Google Stadia, it gives them a tick up from other platforms.
Exactly. Yeah. What you were going to say something there?
No, not at all. Sorry.
We'll just go. What's coming this week is we are getting our pro games for this week, and we actually did a video earlier on this week when this was announced, so you might want to check that out. We are getting Creator, which is a Stadia first game. I think Rokk is going to be doing a video on that.
I wouldn't bank on it, but I would certainly be talking about it. There's a lot to cover.
Or maybe have a video.
Can't say anything. Yeah.
Going forward next week, he may do that. I don't know,
you may not.
Going forward, the next one is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Steamworld Dig, and West of Loathing. They are all coming out on the 1st of July. Normally these games drop at 8 a.m. UK time. I'm just trying to work this out. 3 o'clock Eastern time or midnight Pacific time.
Other times may apply.
Yeah,
Some point in the world there'll be a game drop on Tuesday. That much we know.
Yes, but usually pro games come at 8 o'clock in the morning UK time.
We're very lucky. We get them literally at breakfast time. So most of us can have a quick look or claim them before we head out the door for whatever our day brings.
Yep. So I think that is the news for this week.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Duncan. That was enlightening. And I'm really looking forward to this coming week because, as you've rightly said, we've not only got pro games coming up, but I have a feeling, and I'm not going to put this out there as anything other than speculation, but I think there'll be some major updates next week for Stadia, particularly on the mobile side. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll look forward to that. And we will queue up the next thing in our lineup today, which is...
What's up, Rokk?
No, I've still got to fix that bit at the end. It takes way too long. I ran out of time today. Duncan.
What's up, Rokk?
Well, I'll tell you what's up, mate.
Yeah, well, we're getting there.
That's good. No, it's good. I mean, this part's going to take a bit of practice, but we'll get there. So let me tell you what's up. Last year, when Google first announced Stadia, they told us about some unique features that Stadia would have, particularly around YouTube. Remind us what they were and maybe give us an update.
Okay, the first one we're going to talk about is Stream Connect. This is a feature which is actually already out there on Stadia in a number of games. Ghost Recon, The Crew 2, The Division 2. Basically, Ubisoft seems to love this feature and they're implementing it into everything. Basically, what this does is if you're playing a multiplayer game and you're in a squad with people, their screen comes up at the same time as your one. So you've got your big screen. To the right, usually there is, depending on how many people is playing, you can see what they are seeing in game. So this is a really big thing for multiplayer games, and this could change how some games are played going forward when games really start to take advantage of this feature. This could potentially, in my opinion, make Stadia a place where esports are played, especially for games like Rainbow Six Siege, where you're in a squad and all that.
Are you suggesting we're going to get Rainbow Six Siege, Duncan?
I think we are going to get Rainbow Six Siege at some stage, and I think there's been talk and there's some information out there about Rainbow Six Siege. Nothing has been confirmed officially, but there is things out there about Rainbow Six Siege. So basically, as the picture shows here, the main picture or the main thing there is your game, and to the right is them two smaller things are your teammates, and you can see what they are doing.
Now, the key thing to bear in mind here is that you only see people that are on your side. So you're not going to see where, if you're playing a game like PUBG or Rainbow or Apex, you're not going to see where your enemies are hiding so you can sneak up behind them. That would be just a little bit too easy. These are purely your co-op teammates that you're all on the same side in essence.
Exactly. It's not for cheating. It's more to help with the collaboration in that. So
brilliant. So the next one is this, which is, as you can see, crowd play. What's this all about? What's this one?
The way I would describe this is, I think you would understand this, Rokk, because I'm just going to show me age here. It is, if you remember going back into the arcade and you were just waiting for the next person to play, you would just like, it's a queue system basically.
You put your coins down and say, "I'm next."
I'm next, yeah. But basically, that's what it's going to be. But for streamers, they can drop. They're playing. I use a game which we know is going to have crowd play coming, and that is Get Packed. Get Packed is ready set. That's going to be implemented. So basically, Rokk, you're playing Get Packed, and everybody in the chat wants to play with you. You would drop a link in there, and they would say, "I come play with me," and then it forms a virtual queue for people to then come and join you. So this is going to be a big thing for streamers going forward, and you're going to see lots of interaction with that.
Fantastic. So this is ideally when a streamer or content creator is playing a game that is essentially where they could either be playing against someone else, or they could have a couple of teammates. I'm thinking, for example, in Destiny 2 on Stadia, where on a Friday, they have Trials of Osiris. And I remember back in the Destiny 1 days where I'm so rubbish at multiplayer that we used to get carried, as they say, by really good players to get the rewards in that game. So you literally have people, some of them for free and some of them to make money, but they would offer their services, and you could jump in as a player and play with them, and then they would do all the hard work and get you to the rewarded part. So I could see this as being as something that would help with that, in the sense that you'd all be queued up to play with Mr. Excellent in Trials of Osiris, and he would say, "Right, who's next? Put your coins down," and then pull you in, and out you would go. Is that kind of what we're looking at here?
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. It's going to just make more interactions between content creators and their audience. One thing I have noticed, and it's a trend in Stadia games, is there are getting a lot of like shorter games. Like Get Packed is like 2 or 3 minutes each level, and I think this is with crowd play in mind going forward. So the larger streamers can start rotating as many people in and out going forward. So yeah, there's lots and lots of potential for crowd play for the content creators.
Okay. So the next one we've got is crowd choice, and I'll just pop up the picture. There we go. Now this one is what does this do for us YouTube players?
Okay, I will give an example of a game which is coming with crowd choice, and that is Baldur's Gate 3.
Good game.
It's going to be a big game for Stadia going forward. That's going to be I'm counting Stadia as a console, so it's only going to be available on Stadia or PC. So this is like a semi-Stadia exclusive. So, Rock, you're streaming Baldur's Gate 3, and you get a dialogue choice coming up. Do you go left? Do you go right? Do you go up or you go down? And you put a vote out there, and then whatever the vote happens, that is what you do. What you do. You're not
is it up to you to accept what they say, or do they literally affect the game?
I think it's on a game-by-game basis. So, yeah, some of them it will be, you won't have a choice. So if it's a dialogue choice, bang, it's implemented. And it's up to the game makers to put these in some places. Right. So this is going to be really, really interesting. There is some of the side in the community anyway with Borderlands 3, I think, on Twitch. You can affect it by hitting buttons and making the enemy stronger or weaker, or giving the person.
Oh, right.
But this is going to be fully baked into Stadia games going forward if you're streaming them. So yeah, it's just
that's interesting. So Baldur's Gate, which Baldur's Gate 3, I should say, which obviously is the third in a series. Now those games are turn-by-turn games, aren't they? So in essence, you roll a dice, and the dice will determine what the enemy is going to do next, what the situation is that you've got to deal with. So in effect, it could be written by the developer so that the value of the dice or the weighting of the dice is affected by whatever the crowd choice is.
It could be anything. It's going to be up to the developers going forward.
Yeah, of course.
I think one of the easiest things to do is even in a card game where you can you're given the choice of 3 cards to choose. Go and Slay the Spire. I'm a big Slay the Spire fan. So whoever's watching would vote on, do you get card A, B, or C? And they just pick it up and whatever the people choose. So
that's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be great fun to watch, of course. And you're going to get your trolls in the chat that are just going to be doing the most evil things, and the poor old content creators are going to have a whale of a time.
Or if they're trying to be all good and right in Baldur's Gate,
exactly.
The choices are going to make them all evil. And
I mean, for me personally, I would want to have a separate game instance to the one I normally play, because they're going to ruin it, aren't they? you might as well forget any progress whatsoever. It's going to be absolutely evil. That's going to be so much fun to watch. Okay, there are just 2 more. So the next one is State Share, and I've seen a few people in chat asking about this one. What's the difference between this one and the crowd play?
Okay. I think there's a lot of confusion because Stadia have came out and Creative came out that they're releasing State Share. State Share is basically, if you create something in game, you can share it out to people or capture a moment and share it out. What's Creative is doing is semi-State Share. I feel you can jump in. You can send out the link and people can jump into the game and help you or do that. We can actually do that already for some games. If you're playing multiplayer games, you can actually already send out links. But State Share for me is you create something and you just want to share it, share that moment in time for people to actually do that, continue the game. So imagine you get stuck on a boss and want stuck in the boss, you're at a boss thing and you get a high score in a boss and you want people to try and beat that score, so you would drop the link in for someone to beat them. Again, this is going to be set to the developers to implement it.
Okay.
So you can't actually say clip the highlights of each game. The developers have to allow where and when.
Would you say, therefore, a good definition would be that crowd play invites you to play the game and State Share invites you to play at a specific point in the game?
Thank you, Rock. That is perfectly what I was meaning.
Thank you very much. That's what I do.
crowd choice or crowd play, you get in the queue to play that certain game, but state share, you jump on at that certain moment of that game.
Gotcha. And it's also fair to say that these may be renamed when they actually launch, as we've seen with base becoming just Stadia. And I think state share, if I'm honest with you, is a clumsy, doesn't really describe what it is. State means something to a developer, probably doesn't mean anything to you or me as gamers. So they might need to have a little play with the definition. I struggle with all of them. I'm always forgetting what each one does. I'm not sure that they all satisfactorily describe what that function is. And I guess for some of them, they're a little bit invisible anyway. I'm thinking, as an example, you've just said, when we play PUBG on a Friday night in Rockstars at night, for example, and we invite the chat to jump in, don't we? And we can have up to 100 players in a custom instance, in a custom server of the game. And we're essentially putting a link out into the chat, which we pop into the chat, or they can go and find it anyway. And then they can jump in and play with us. And that's really crowd play, isn't it, in essence? So, some of these things exist within games already, but they're not called these things. And we're calling them this because that's essentially what they were called by the developers when they first announced them and showed them. And it's fair to say that actually these may never exist as specific names as a feature. It'll just be something within a game that you'll realize is a function, and it can be invoked.
Yeah, exactly. And just going to pick up on the wee question there about how you'll be able to access these. I believe it's just going to be in the game chat, so it should be for accessing the polls. So yeah, I think that will be working on iOS, Android, but again, we're speculating here to a point, but I would say it's pretty safe that it's just going to be in-app. You don't have to worry about which version of it is your...
No, it'll presumably require some update to the main YouTube app stroke web-based interface, and as you've said, it'll almost certainly be part of chat. Now, it could be done with bots, because again, I'm trying not to get too technical, but anyone that's familiar with watching a live stream like this one will see a bot pop up. I think I saw one earlier on with us, for example, and they can be made to say things like, please donate here, or please subscribe, or here's a poll, for example. So it's possible that it'll just be implemented that way, which is already in existence, or it may be that it'll be complete new functionality. It might be a bar along the bottom of the chat. We genuinely don't know yet, do we?
No, I think we've had some of the examples, and it was actually just coming up straight in the YouTube viewer. But again, this was last year, so things, how quick tech moves. Last year is a decade ago for other industries.
And then very finally, this is the click to play option.
Yep, we're already starting to see some of this go out with on their Twitter account. Basically, it's exactly what it says. You're watching a YouTube video, you click play to start playing the game now, and you can share the links anywhere. Again, we, like you mentioned, on Rockstars at night, we drop a link into the chat, and people just jump straight to the multiplayer lobby, which we're playing in. There is also talk of if you're watching a game on YouTube, say you're watching PUBG on YouTube, there could be a button below to play now, and bang, you're in the game ready to go, assuming you've got it or you want to buy it. So yeah, it's just making you can play gaming, or you can game anywhere you want. Perfect.
Brilliant. Duncan, thank you so much. I feel much more enlightened. I'm not up anymore. I'm kind of mellow. So let's quickly move on to our next feature. I'm going to cue the video, so get ready for this, Duncan, because I know it catches you out. Now, this is our rock review section. Now, obviously, I've still got old screens and stuff here, so pardon me for this. What this is, in essence, is, let's see if I can pull this up for you. What we're doing today is we're looking at a game which you and I had early access to. The before it was released. I think, when was it released? On Monday or Tuesday last week?
I think it was Tuesday.
Right, okay.
All the days are just rolling into one.
They are indeed. This game was Wavebreak, which I have got the video up for here. And this is actually you and your beloved Kelly playing.
Yes, this is me killing Kelly in Wavebreak and trying to do some tricks really badly there. Yeah, basically what Wavebreak...
Sorry, Duncan, before we do that, I just want to explain to people how Rock Review works, because it's we do reviews differently it's fair to say, to anybody else. And the reason for that is that, and this goes back again to Stadia Rokks, the original show, and where I felt that, everybody does reviews and they'll talk about, a game reminds them of a game, a certain other game, or how the graphics are working, and really good stuff. And they will overall determine if a game is good based on sort of certain factors that are just general. But I felt, and still do, that what's more important for our audience is how this game stacks up as a game that a casual player, or somebody that has a very finite amount of time to play, the busy people, how it works for them. And we do that by breaking it down over 5 questions there. How quickly can you get into the game? So from the point of pressing play in Stadia to the point of actually controlling your character, how quickly is that process? Can you pick up where you left off? Now, this is important really only for story-based games or games that have a campaign. So, if you have to stop for whatever reason, go to work, go to school, look after the kids, how quickly can you get back to the same point you left off when you go back into the game? How easy is it to actually play? Because, of course, that learning curve has a big impact on your gaming time. Is it rewarding? So, depending what you get out of a game, does this tick those boxes? And then finally, is it value for money? So there's 5 factors. We score 5 points for each one, giving obviously a maximum of 25. So let's start with the first one. How quickly can you get into the game from your library, Duncan?
It is instant as you think. You can just load it up, bang, you are in. You can get straight into a multiplayer match if there's people about that, or into the single player content. The multiplayer works that if there's no one in the lobby, as you can see there on the screen, they actually put bots in with you as well. It's
fair to say that this was recorded before the game went public, so the reason there's nobody else there is there was nobody else there.
Yep, exactly. I think later on in this video, which we did, Andy Morse joined us as well, but again, he has.
Oh, fantastic.
But basically, there's 2 different things in this, and there's a single player element and there's a multiplayer element. What I'm talking about here is there's a possible new feature highlighted here. Broadcast stream share sessions do not receive an update, so I think that's hinting at YouTube streaming coming soon, but that's just in case anybody else picked it up. But getting into the game, getting back to the main point, it is instant. It's just whatever one you want to play, you're in there ready to go. And for that, I would give that a 5.
So that's full marks. You can literally press the button, boom, you're in there within seconds. I'd agree with that. It's exactly how I felt it as well. Secondly, can you pick up where you left off? Now, it is fair to say it's largely a multiplayer game. I mean, that is its big feature, really. But there is a story campaign to begin with. So from I'm halfway through a story, Duncan, the phone rings, it's my boss, I've got to go and answer the call, I come back, game's finished because Stadia gives you 15 minutes, I've got to go back in again. Do I start from the same point?
No, you're kicked out and you have to start it all again. However, it's not as bad as that sounds. Each of the levels are only a couple of minutes long, so it's not timed, they're timed, so you don't have to worry about losing a lot of things. It's literally 2 or 3 minutes each go, so you can just pick it up as you go. For me, it's like a bathroom break game. You can just go in, have a quick go, 2-3 minutes, and away you go again. It's another one of these games, which I think is going to be big for some of the features we were talking about earlier. It's a quick game, get people circulating, and if people are streaming it, it's just a pick up and go game.
Gotcha.
So yes, you will lose where you've left off if you haven't completed that level or that section. However, it's not a massive issue because of it being quick hits.
Okay, so how many points do we award for that then?
We'll give it 3 points for that.
3 is fair. I think it's somewhere between the two, isn't it? You're not going to be exactly where you left off, but in fairness, that's not how really the game plays. Every mission, every campaign is timed, so you genuinely couldn't freeze the clock and pick up. So that's fair. So that's 3 points for that one. How easy is it to actually play?
This game is extremely difficult. To actually do the main part of the game, which is actually more tricks and skills, you're going to need to put a lot of time into it. There's no tutorial, which is a massive thing for me. It took me 10-15 minutes to work out the basic grinding and stuff, how you're actually meant to do things, because I'm not a skateboard. I don't really play Tony Hawk. Yeah, it's there is a massive learning curve with this game, so it is extremely difficult to play. The multiplayer matches, which I've been playing with Kelly, is just like a free-for-all, and you can just jump into them, and they're easy to pick up. However, for the actual meat and bones of the game, it is awful. However, to give the developers a lot of props here, they've actually put out a move list on Twitter.
All right.
Yes.
Bit of an afterthought, though.
Yeah. So people, it tells you what moves and how to do the moves, but at the time it was like it's extremely difficult. Even learning the moves, it's going to take a while. So, as you can see there in the video, it's very, very sensitive. So if you're grinding, it works for about a second, and then it goes really hypersensitive, and you're trying to keep it level. So
I'd have to agree. I mean, I the same as you. I never actually played any of the skate games, and I know from people like Club Stadia, Brian, who and Eddie Player One, who have played those games, and they said, they were very similar, if not exactly the same control mechanism. So it kind of felt they were home again. So I can see that as a homage to those kinds of games. If those are the sorts of games you've played, perfect. But no, I think you can go into a gym and you can practice all your various things and bits and pieces. But again, that's not an obvious. I never found that, for example. And I think the thing, the fact that the developers felt that they needed to publish, a tweet with all the controls in, goes to show that was probably a bit of an afterthought. Personally, I'd expect an update to the game to try and maybe take care of some of that. And do you know what I think, Duncan? I think that this game is probably was in mind for this game to be more of a mobile game. And because if you ever play it on, as I did, I tried it both with controller and with keyboard and mouse. It's next to impossible with keyboard and mouse. I mean, you're all over the shop. You've got to really dumb down the sensitivity and trying to find the various keys and stuff. Forget it. So, it's very much kind of hand-holding game. And I think playing this on a mobile device, which, as you've alluded to earlier, and we mentioned about the rest of the world being predominantly mobile-based, I think we're going to see a lot more games that are ideally suited to that as a medium. So we're not giving it high props for ease of play. How many points would you give for this one?
Yeah, I think we should just make this clear again. We're looking at this from casual to people who haven't got a lot of time. They're time poor and casual sort of market, and don't really want to spend hours just trying to learn controls. So in that case, this is going to be a 1.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Duncan. I mean, this is a fantastic game and it's great fun. But if you're someone like me who just doesn't have the time, you want to get in and play a game, this probably is a 1. I agree with you on that one. Okay, so next up, how rewarding is it to play? Now, what I mean by that is that there are certain games, let's say take Assassin's Creed, for example, or Destiny, where you are constantly getting loot. There's a very clear progression. You can update your character. Kind of feels like you're always making progress, and and you get rewarded on a regular basis. And that's something that a lot of gamers, including me, that's the thing we look forward to. How can I get to? I want to get to the next level. I've got to progress my character. How rewarding is this game? Does that tick any of those boxes?
It does tick some of the boxes. As you alluded to, there's a shop, there's a gym where you can upgrade your character, you learn some more tricks. As you spend more time with the game, the more rewarding it gets. But again, you have to put the time in to actually do it and start learning it. It's just, it is rewarding if you have the patience for it and you've got the time to put the effort into it. So yeah, it's right in the middle for that. It is quite rewarding, but you have to stick with it. If you can get past the frustration of not being able to do things, like I've found, it can get there. So I'm going to give it a 3.
3 for that one. I think again that's fair. It's right in the middle. And then finally, out of our 5 points, value for money. Now it's 30 of your English pounds, which is I think it's $35 in America, obviously, and similar euro price. Is it value for money, Duncan, at that price?
It all depends. If you like skateboarding games, this is going to be right up your alley. You're going to love it. You're going to play it, and you're going to play it for ages. If it's not, you could get sick of it really quick and find it quite frustrating.
Okay.
For me, I actually love the mini games more than the actual main thing. This here, I think they've got an absolute star. If they could expand this part out, I think there would be a lot of room to expand this part. It's like Mario Kart nearly, where you're just going around killing people and just having a laugh. And just well remember, there has just been a wee update to this, which again, our friend Jem has found, where they've actually expanded the lobbies out to 6 people now. So that's going to make that even more chaos.
Oh, wow. Well, good find, Jem.
Yeah. And again, as someone has just mentioned, Stadia Hunters has mentioned in our chat there, and this one hasn't actually released with any achievements. So that would actually, I know a lot of people buy games to get achievements as well, so that's also runs into this. So with that, I would give it a 2.
2 out of 5.
Yeah. Again, this is from our perspective and where we're coming from. If you're in the skateboarding games, you're going to get this 5 out of 5. Absolutely no problem at all. If you're more casual and you're not really into it, it's hard to justify the money.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely fair. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how a Rokk review works. Overall, we're giving it 14 out of 25. So, it's kind of in the middle. And I think there's room. I think it's fair to say there's room for improvement. It feels to me like it's just missing some of those little added bits of polish. Maybe it was rushed. Who knows? We don't know that for sure. But certainly, it has potential to be a really good game. I know that there are people out there. I know Andy, for example, Andy Morse, you played with in this review video and is in our chat. Hi, Andy. He loves it. He really enjoys it. Brian at Club Stadia, he's done a really good review, and overall he had similar thoughts to us, but he did feel it was a great game. So as games go, it's great. It's got a lot of potential, but if you're a casual gamer, if you haven't got a huge amount of time right now, we'd say maybe hang on a bit before you buy this one. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Duncan. Appreciate the video. That was really cool. So we're now going to move on to the final element of our show today, which is we have no video for this, by the way. We'll work on one. We'll come up with one. But this one is it's Ask Duncan. And as it says, the idea here is that during the week, we will ask people to give us a question, ask Duncan something you'd like to know about Stadia, or cloud gaming even, that you're burning to have an answer to, and then my good friend Duncan will come up with exactly what you're looking for. So we'll remove that video. We'll put this one up, because today, Duncan, what are you going? You've been asked by an anonymous individual, how do you actually sign up to Google Stadia?
So basically what I've got here is I've just made, as you can see, with the highly original name demo for Stadia. We are going to set up a Stadia account here. So
sorry, Duncan, I'm going to put this on full screen because some of the font sizes are maybe a bit small for some people.
I can actually make that slightly.
Can you? Brilliant.
Tell me.
Couple of pluses. There you go. That's cool. Thank you, mate. Perfect.
So basically what we're going to do here is just set up a Stadia account here, and hopefully this works all to plan.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have made a new Gmail account there called Demo for Stadia. So I'm going to get spam now with a lot of stuff now because everybody can see it. Basically, I've just logged into the Stadia homepage.
Which is, what's the URL?
Stadia.google.com, I think.
Okay. I think you can get to it at stadia.com as well, can't you?
Yeah.
They tidied it up, mate, since you first went there.
And basically, you just go through this nice and simple. I'm going to assume that this is someone just signing up for the first time. So do you have a Stadia controller bundle? No. Do you have a buddy pass? No. So you just go on. It's your normal terms and conditions there.
Okay.
Okay. And just accept them. I'm just actually reading there because sometimes you get some interesting stuff in that.
Updates and things.
Yeah, it's just saying they're going to track your stuff like game saves and game achievements and all that sort. So I was just being nosy there. So we'll just accept that. Then you select your avatar. So we will go for the big cupcake there.
Giving me a cupcake, thanks, mate.
Yep.
You've obviously looked at my belly recently.
Yep. And next, you actually make your Stadia name. So what should our Stadia name be here?
Oh, yeah. What should we call ourselves? Stadia Rokks Live.
Stadia Rokks Live.
Perfect.
Stadia Rokks Live. And we don't have any other numbers at the moment. This is just something to point out while we're actually making the avatar there. You're going to see some people don't have numbers attached to their names. That means they were founders. The way this works now, it's like Xbox now as well. If you've got different names, there's going to be numbers at the end. So if your name is Joe Bloggs, and you make your name Joe Bloggs, your name now would be like Joe Bloggs and some random numbers to the side of it.
It's like hash 4738, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you will not have your name completely clean. But again, that's what everything seems to be moving towards. Basically, now we're under our privacy settings, if I could speak. I actually was meant to mention this in the news. There's actually some additional ones here where you can see time played and player stats. So it looks like we're going to get some more things going. So we will go. We just have to select options here. So I'm just all players.
Now, have you gone through the credit card part of this yet, Duncan? Was that earlier?
I have not as yet.
Right, so that'll be fun. We'll have to hide it when you do that. Either that or get your pens ready, folks. Everything next dinner's on Duncan.
Yeah. So, and we'll just sign up for the emails there. So there we go. And then it's the pro trial. So this is how you start it now. You just hit start trial. And it shouldn't come up with any numbers rather because it's on a brand new account. So basically what you would do there is you would put in your credit card number.
Well, I'll let you do that while we're looking at your face.
Oh, if you just put my face on here.
I'll just put your. We're not seeing the card. You're good. You can go for it. I'll just quickly refer to. There's a couple of while you're doing that. There's a couple of points in the chat. So Louis, hi Louis Swa. Louis, how are you, my friend? Says that he's heard that Cyberpunk is going to be a same-day release on GeForce Now with ray tracing. That is true, and they're making a very big thing of it. It's going to be same-day release as at least PlayStation 4, and the current generation of Xbox. Now, of course, because it's coming out on November the 19th, We can speculate and do no more that it'll potentially also come out on the Xbox Series X, because that's due to be released around then. And we'd like to think Stadia, but sadly there was an element of a recent press release which continued to say, and Stadia will be later in the year, although they're getting rather close to the end of the year at that point. But that's the way it works. So yes, it's going to be that. But don't forget that in order to achieve that with GeForce, you need to have premium subscription. And I don't know, the last time I looked, they had capped the amount of people that they were offering that out to. But it will come. And of course, what we don't know yet is what the feature, or whether or not it'll be rolled out on what we're calling the next generation of Stadia service, or Blade 2, Gen 2. And we don't know yet what the feature set for those will be. And it is potentially that it could have ray tracing. So who knows? We'll have to watch this space. But yeah, it is definitely, it has been confirmed that it will appear on GeForce Now with, as you rightly said, ray tracing. How are we doing over there, Duncan? Have we got your cards in yet, mate?
Yep, card is in.
Perfect.
After you pay, this is what screen comes up. And that means I am now, Stadia Rokks Live is now a pro, apparently. And you can now claim all your games. So there's all the games you can claim now. Elder Scrolls.
Now, how many are we currently able to claim once we've signed up?
I believe it's 18, isn't it? Or is it
I think yes, you're right. It's 18. Of course, this coming Tuesday, they're adding another 4 to the mix. And although normally they rotate some out, the belief is that this Tuesday there will be no games leaving the pack. So we'll actually have 22.
Yep, exactly. So they seem to have changed their strategy on this, but again, my advice regarding the Stadia Pro is assume that games are going to leave all the time and just claim them.
Yeah.
You can
don't leave them to chance.
Don't leave it to chance. As soon as they're available, just claim them. Even if you've no intention of actually playing them at the moment, you never know how you feel in the future, because your gaming tastes could change.
That's a really good point. So if I wanted to claim Grid, what do I do there? Do I have to go and click on that?
Yep.
The name, or can you show me quickly?
You just click onto that and then
scroll down.
Oh, just where we've got this there.
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. What you can do here is you're going to have £10 off your next purchase if you sign up to Stadia. It's just what we've pointed out. But to claim the game, you just click on claim. And that's it. And then you could click onto that, and that is you playing straight away.
You're straight in the game. One of the absolute perfect reasons for grabbing yourself Stadia. So there you go, folks. 18 games currently that you'll have access to, and some big titles in there. Oh,
sorry, my camera has went again.
You're giving all your technical trade secrets away, mate. You're worse than a bad magician. What was it you were going to say, Duncan?
I was just going to say my camera doesn't like me going.
Oh, right, okay. No worries. So, yeah, some big games in there. We've got Elder Scrolls Online. We've got PUBG, Grid, as you can see here. Destiny 2 with the current and previous seasons. This, I think, I'm right in saying that will be the last of the free seasons that we get with Destiny 2. We've had them for a year, so we've not done too badly. Power Rangers, which is surprisingly a very good game, and Zombie Army 4, which has just had a new DLC release as well, so that's one to look out for. So, fill your boots, folks, and 4 new games this coming Tuesday. Duncan, thank you very, very much for doing that. You can now go and cancel it and get your money back. Yep. And I will. I've just got one final thing that I wanted to say before we head off, and that is that for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been trying to raise money on behalf of a very worthwhile charity, which is called Click Sargent. Stands for Cancer and Leukemia in Children. Something very dear to my heart for personal reasons. And it's called Rock versus Cancer in Children. What I do quite simply is I stream as often as I can, but we've raised so far £647 pounds from a goal of £1,000. Click Sergeant have been in touch and thanked me, and it's really, they're a great charity. They don't, they're not one of these charities that claims they're going to cure cancer. That's an impossible and ridiculous thing to claim. But what they do is they support families that are going through the trauma, and obviously specifically if that involves children. So, you know, it's a really, really worthwhile cause. If you've got a spare pound, please pop along to https://tiltify.com/@ Stadia Rokks/rock, and we're going to say we're trying to get to that magic 1,000. Just £100 is 3 days worth of support for a family, so that amount of money will do some amazing good. Thank you very much for indulging me on that, and also don't forget to like us if you've liked us, and hit subscribe if you like to subscribe to us, and hit the bell to let us tell you that we've got a new show every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. of course, and during the week when there's breaking news, my good friend Duncan and I will be also popping out recorded videos to keep you up to date. So that's what you get for your package with Stadia Rokks, and it costs you nothing. Have a fantastic weekend, folks. Really enjoyed having you. You're all amazing. The chat's been superb today. Duncan, thank you so much, my friend. I know that you give up all sorts of cooked breakfasts and trips to church on a Sunday to come and do this. So it's really good to have you as always.
Thank you very much. Kelly's going down to make me a fry now, so she is.
Is she? Good lady. I actually did a cooked breakfast for dinner last night for my family because that's all I can do, and it was my turn. So, but it was good. I have to say it was one of the best. Chat, take care. Been great to have you. See you next Sunday.